Hey guys, I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. I am in Toronto still, as you can tell. It is a little bit chilly today, so I have my hat on. I hope that doesn't bother you guys. And in this video, I want to speak to you guys about emotional overload. Recently, a viewer on the channel, let me figure out his name, Misostrat. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Anyways, he was talking about how he believes, or he recently read something that said that autistic people are highly gifted people, or highly intelligent people, people with high IQs. They're not actually lacking empathy. They don't really lack emotions. They're not robotic. In fact, it's the opposite. They feel too much, and that's the reason that it comes across as that, because when they feel too much, it kind of gets overwhelming, and because it's overwhelming, they shut themselves off, their emotions off, and that's why they appear robotic or cold or unemotional. And the reason I'm kind of bringing it up here in the INFJ channel is because I thought it was really poignant or applicable to INFJs as well, and to myself. um, it's funny because my mom says that to me all the time. She says, you're so heartless, or you don't feel for me, or you don't feel anything for anyone. You don't have any heart anymore, or you're so practical. You don't actually feel emotions for people. You don't feel love for people. And it's funny to me because I think to myself, oh my God, if I don't feel, then what is really feeling like, right? The reason I don't feel so much, or I pretend not to feel, or I've shut down my emotions, or I've shut off my empathy, I've closed off my heart, is because, as Miss Ostrat said, I used to feel a lot. And as a teenager, and even in my, when I was a child, when I was 10 or 12, I remember my grandfather died. And there were all these emotions in my heart, right? Like, he was it my grandfather? I think it was my grandfather. Anyways, something really terrible had happened. I can't even remember. I've kind of blocked it off, I guess. And I was sitting there and thinking to myself, I feel like my heart was squeezing, and all those emotions that we feel. My heart was feeling terrible. It was painful, and I realized at that point that I don't want to feel so much anymore. I felt a lot. There were so many things that happened through my childhood that made me feel a lot, and I did not want to do that anymore. So I decided, even as a child, that I'm going to shut off my emotion capacity, right? Emotional capacity, my empathy. And that's when it began, the whole circle of me being called cold or an emotional. And I used to get that from everyone. Every one of my friends would say that. My family members always say that to me. Even at funerals or at something that's supposed to be sad, I don't really show my emotions or show that I'm sad. I'll show anger. Anger is really easy for me to show. I'll show frustration, but I'll never actually show sadness or that kind of emotion, right? I feel like that's like a more powerful emotion. I'll feel it inside of me, obviously, and I feel a lot of it, but I won't actually show it to people. Not only that, but as I've said to you guys, there's a lot of techniques that I've learned for myself to shut off my heart, to kind of close off this kind of area, so that all the negative energies in the world, all the negative energies coming towards me, all the emotions and feelings that are always popping towards us, always moving towards us, can be cut off and shut off. But what happens with that is that I don't actually see when someone's sad, or someone needs me, or someone has a lot of emotions and feelings that I need to deal with, because I have shut them off. I don't actually even see it anymore because I don't want to see it. It's too much for me at certain points in time. I've already given, and I can't give anymore. The problem with most people, in my opinion, most people have this weird thing that they believe that we're really, 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 really strong. And maybe we are. I mean, I do come across as a very strong individual, and I am strong in certain ways, but they have this certain idea that they can just keep on piling on shit on us, negative emotions, negative ideas, negative everything, and we'll just take it. And then, what we do, we are alchemists, right? So we'll take all that negative energy and we'll kind of alchemize it, and then we'll release only light and good stuff into the world, and we'll keep all the negative stuff for ourselves because we want to negate it, we want to suppress it, we want to neutralize it, right? And so we're using our own strength, our own light to neutralize all that negative energy someone's sending towards us. But that means that all the negative energy is within us for a few hours, few days, few weeks, few years sometimes, right? The problem, as I said, is people don't understand that that takes a long time and a lot of energy. So I will sit sometimes with people because I feel like they really need me, and I'll sit with them and they'll pour and pour and pour negative energy on me, and I'll take it. And I'll do it for a few hours. And then I'll go off into my corner because I really need to recharge, because it's exhausting to do that. And I'll do that. I'll recharge. I'll be on my own. I'll rejuvenate. And then a few hours later, they'll message me again, or they'll call me again, or they'll call me and want to meet up again, and because they have more stuff that they want to talk about. And at that point, my cold, unemotional, robotic self will come out. That self that feels too much and doesn't want to feel anymore, that cannot feel anymore because it's too tiring, it's too exhausting, and I'm at my limit. And I'll say, I'm sorry, we already talked about this. I've already given you my suggestions and advice. I have nothing else to say on this subject matter. I'm done with this topic. I'm bored of it. I don't want to talk about it anymore. And you guys can see that I do really get cold at that point. I get unemotional. I get robotic because I think to myself, no, I don't think so. I'm sorry. Because I have really good boundaries now, not before, but now I do. I know that I can't constantly be giving over and over and over again. I can't constantly be feeling all the time. It's too much. It's too overwhelming. I think that's one of the reasons why INFJs in general have a really hard time really doing something powerful in the world, or are really using their gifts and unique talents to create something awesome in the world, because we don't have good boundaries. And so what we're doing with all of our time and all our energy and our alchemizing skills and all our intuition is spending it on all of these useless, well, I shouldn't say useless, but all these interactions where people are just pouring their negativity into us and we're pouring out positivity. Because that takes so much out of us, and it did for me for the longest time. I was spending so much of my time alchemizing the negativity in my family because of all the fights that were happening all the time, or all the negativity that was in there, that I was too exhausted to do anything else. The only thing I could possibly do was eat a lot of junk food, which I did, and party a lot, drink a lot to kind of soothe myself a little bit, and, have a lot of sex. That's what I did in order to, because I did not have any energy to do anything else, right? Now, obviously, I understand that there have to be boundaries placed in this situation. And now, whenever someone comes up to me and says, I really need to talk about stuff, if I am not in the right spot, if I haven't taken care of myself, if I'm not fully charged, and if I cannot give them my best, and if it just will ruin my own mood and ruin all the energy that I have to do this work that I do in this channel and all the other things I do, then I'll say, no, I'm sorry, I don't have time for that right now. I'm sorry, no, right? Now, obviously, it doesn't mean that I don't feel for that person. It doesn't mean that I don't feel terrible that I'm not there for them. And I spend a lot of my time in guilt. A lot of my energy, well, not as much as I would spend on this person, but a lot of my energy is spent on guilt, feeling bad because I refuse to spend my time on negativity anymore. And that means that I'm spending it on guilt, perhaps. But really, guilt is not as powerful of an emotion as all of that negativity can be. It really is harsh. Some people's negativity can really completely break us apart and tear us apart. And that's the reason I'm really, really careful about whose negative energy I let into my life. There are very few people nowadays that I will let into my life in that manner. The only people really I do let and I do spend time with, and that's also really minimally, is obviously my family. And even then, I'm really, really, really strict with my boundaries with my mother, my father, and my siblings. I'll be like, okay, I have an hour and a half to spend with you. You can just talk to me and vent to me, and then I have to go do my work. All right, then I have to go. And so once that hour and a half is done, even if they're blabbing on, even if they're blabbing on, I shouldn't say that, that's rude. Even if they're talking and they're just going on and on and on, I'm like, I'm sorry, their time is up. It's not like I'm a therapist or anything, although we are therapists, but it's for my own sanity. Otherwise, I would literally be spending all day long, because people who are in that state of mind, who want to talk, they could literally talk about this all day long, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. My mother, when she gets into one of these states, she could literally talk about it all day long, in between meals, during meals, while I'm in the washroom taking a shower. She could literally talk about it all day long because, when you have negative emotions, the only thing you think is going to help is venting about it to other people who you believe can help. But that's not going to happen. It used to happen in the past, and I'm not going to do that anymore, unfortunately or fortunately, right? It's for my own sanity. Otherwise, can you imagine? I would have no energy to do these videos. I would definitely have no energy to do these videos because it takes a lot out of me. I wouldn't have the energy to write my posts. I wouldn't have the energy to do anything creative because I'd be spending all of it on these conversations. And these conversations, these negative conversations, really suck all of the creative energy out of me. Creative energy is very powerful and really takes a lot out of us. I notice myself, like I'll do a few videos or I'll do a few creative things, and then I'm absolutely mentally exhausted and I need to actually put some sugar into my body because I really deplete myself with creativity. Just the way it is, you use a lot of yourself up. If I want to be creative, and if INFJs want to do their work in the world, then they need to remember that their energy has to be spent in a very conscious manner. It has to be done very consciously. If you believe that you have today or tomorrow or one day to spend on your family and listening to all their negativity or all their venting, then spend that time. But do it consciously in a way where yes, if I spend that one day, then I'll have the rest of the week to do what I want to do, and I can do my work, and I don't have to feel guilty about it. Kind of plan it out. I actually schedule these kind of things, and so I'll know, I know intuitively that my mother needs to speak to me or my sibling needs to speak to me, and I know it's going to be a very difficult conversation, so I will schedule it in. I'll do all the work that I need to do, all my creative work. I'll recharge myself. I'll eat a lot of food, a lot of good, healthy, green stuff so that I have the energy for it. And then I'll go on and then I'll bring it up. And then, the conversation will happen. And then I'll stop it when I'm done with it. And I'll go back to my room and recharge again because I know that if I don't stop it, then I'll be spending the entire day on it. And then I won't have enough energy tomorrow to do my work either. It's like an emotional hangover. You do these conversations and you literally feel depleted. You just want to sleep all day. You want to take care of yourself. You want to take a long bath. You want to go for a long walk. It just feels so tiring, okay? The reason I'm sharing this video with you guys is I know I've done videos in the past where I've told you guys it is important for us to learn how to shut off our empathy. And a lot of you guys were like, no, empathy is our superpower. We can never shut it off and things like that. When I say shut off an empathy, it doesn't actually mean that your empathy is actually shut off. There is no way in hell an INFJ could actually shut off their empathy. It is just an innate part of us. It is what we are made of. Just like we're made of stardust and we're made of oxygen molecules or we're made of nitrogen, whatever it might be. We are made of empathy. Every single cell in our body is empathy. And so we can't really shut it off in the true sense of the word. But I do want you guys to learn about boundaries and to have very clear boundaries with the people around you so that they know how much they can take from you and how much negativity they can put into you before it's too much for you to handle and before you need to go and recharge yourself. Because a burnt out INFJ is no good to anyone. Not to yourself, not to anyone else in the world, and definitely not to the work that you're supposed to be doing on this planet. I hope this makes sense to you guys. This has been a really long video already. If you guys have any questions on this at all, please message me anytime. I love this subject matter, as you can see, and I can talk about this forever. So if you have specific questions for me, let me know, and I will expand on them. And if you guys obviously have video suggestions, please let me know as well. I'm always here to answer your questions. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.